Hey guys, it's Fadra from Stinger Universe, and this is probably my own personally most anticipated movie review of the year. And Shannon and I decided to both review Avengers Endgame because we knew we would probably have very different opinions, and it was too important of a movie not to both have takes on it. And it was so significant to me that I actually took notes. So let's get started. Here is my spoiler-free 60-second movie review of Avengers Endgame. This movie was really divided into 3 parts, and each part kind of lasted about an hour, giving you the total 3-hour movie length. It was long. It didn't seem excessively long, but it was a very long movie. Here's what I'll say in capital letters. This was definitely the final chapter. And if you didn't get that, I felt like they made it clear all throughout. It felt a bit like a retrospective of every single Avengers movie that's been made to date. And they pulled in a lot of different pieces. I'm sure they were going for the nostalgia factor. They were going for the nerd factor to try and tie everything in. And at times it felt like a little too much for me. Even though this movie was clearly the final chapter, I felt like it had a bit of an identity crisis. It had some very dark, very dramatic moments that were very compelling. And then all of a sudden it was a comedy. And look, I love comic relief and I love the lighthearted moments, but there were some running gags that were just, it was a little too much for me. And finally, I can't help but compare this to other movies. The big action sequence in the movie that happens towards the end felt a lot like a DC movie. Like, let's just throw lots of stuff together and have lots of action. But ultimately, I have to compare it to Infinity War. What I loved so much about Infinity War is that it was a completely edge-of-your-seat, riveting movie. From the very beginning to the very end, I left with my breath taken away. Endgame was not that. It was a good movie. Compared to the A+ I would give Infinity War, Endgame gets about a B- in my book. I'd love to know what you think.